Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hey, who's this? Dr. Harris, how are you, sir?
Yes, sir. Doing great.
Good, good. Ron, how are you? Hey, there's my super mentor, Shamla. Hey, Shamla, how are you? She might be a
Good,
bit
thanks,
busy.
David.
Good, good.
Hey
And
everyone,
Brenda.
I'm doing good, thanks.
Hello.
Hey, Brenda, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Looks like you're shopping over there.
I know, right? I wish I was.
Well, the rest of your team should be showing up soon.
Yeah,
And,
I know Mike's coming.
Okay, good, good. All right, so we'll be ready in 4. Well, the only person who said they were not going to be able to make it is Cassandra. She said she was feeling under the weather. And so we'll say a word for her to feel better. And there's Dr. Harris down there in Mid-South. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
It's cold here though, so it's too
Ooh,
cold,
yeah.
too cold.
Oh,
But other than that, I'm well. It's Saturday, it's good. So
Yes, it is. It is like a little cold across the country for some reason here. But because
I
it's
guess
cold in
I can't-
Texas, man. It's cold here
Yes.
too. Really, it is.
I guess I can't complain if we don't have the feet of snow they do in New York. So
We got what? Snow in New York?
feet, I think they said I saw today that they were measuring some parts has over 6 feet.
What? Oh, I gotta call my sister now. Gotta call
Obviously,
her.
I don't want to live anywhere where you have to measure snow in feet.
And sometimes in April in New York, because I'm from Brooklyn originally, sometimes in April in New York, it's like a drift, a 5-foot drift of snow. It's just, it could be terrible, I'm telling you. So, but Texas now, I mean, we just get cold. We get cold weather around this time of the year. It's like 40 something, or even get down to 30, but nothing like New York or even Denver, where it's like it was snowing a week ago. It was snowing in Denver, so we don't have to deal with none of that. That's thankfully for
No.
that.
No snow blowers.
No snow blowers.
Are you
Absolutely.
showing off? Are you teasing everybody else? Is that what you're doing?
That's him, not me. Hey, Kurby, is it snowing in New York?
In Buffalo.
Buffalo, New York, not
Yeah.
not down not down in the city in New York. No.
We had sprinkles in Jersey, but that's it yesterday. Like a little
Okay.
bit.
Well, guys, welcome. I know a few folks are going to be trailing, but we're at 1 o'clock, so we're going to get going, and they'll get here. When they get here, we close this down. What is this here? Oh, there it is. I go through a couple of things early on in the session. Just have to announce and go through our regular introduction of our impact engage here. So I'm going to go through that real quickly and then introduce and then go through a couple of questions. I sent you guys all the questions. I think you've got them all, and I think we'll be fine for the folks that join us. Nonetheless, this is a Cyversity Impact Engage. Today's November the 19th, 2022. This is the last session of the year. We usually take December off, come back in January, and then I'll announce who we're going to be speaking to in January. But as you can see from the presentation on the screen, today we're going to be meeting the chapter presidents. As I said earlier, Cassandra is not able to join us because she's feeling under the weather. So we'll just pray for her recovery, that she'll be well. And in any event, this is Cyversity, and this is our mission. Our mission is really to achieve consistent representation of women and minorities in the cybersecurity industry. And we do that through programs that are designed to foster recruitment, retention, inclusion, equity, and belonging. So that's our mission. And it's, I always start off with at the top of our conversation with that. Additionally, we've got membership benefits, because this is a membership organization. We do have membership benefits that focus on career exploration, focus on cybersecurity skills assessments. One of them is core competency core. We also focus on developing the holistic person and the technical expertise of our individuals that join Cyversity through these types of engage events, scholarships, trainings, mentorship programs, and the like. And of course, our conference that we just had, which was a great conference, I really enjoyed myself there. And of course, by connecting through networking and local chapters, which is the focus of today's conversation. For those that are here that are not already members, you can scan this code on the screen, and it'll give you an opportunity to learn more about our membership and how to become a member. We focus on quite a few topics, and those are listed on this career development, career spotlighting, transitioning, leadership, and tech talks. We're a little bit early this year. I mean, this month, the 19th, as opposed to our fourth Saturday of the month. We're usually on the fourth Saturday a month, so we'll probably get a few people trickling in. But this month, November, is Native American and Military Veterans Month, and we're celebrating that all month. Well, we're probably celebrating it all year, but we highlight it during the month of November. So our ground rules are pretty simple. Just mute your phone. Of course, I should take my own. I should take my own. Notice telling me she can't get in, so I'll take care of that in a minute. But please mute your phone and avoid, so we can avoid all background noise. This is a 60-minute conversation. As I said, focusing on some of the things that we spoke about before. It's going to be a question and answer period at the close of the session. So you can either put your questions in the chat box or just come off mute and give us your question so that we could see you. Come off mute and come on screen so we can see you. And the session is going to be recorded. It is being recorded. I'll make sure that that's happening so that we can record for posterity and folks that are coming. And this is the research or the survey link. What I'll do at near the close of this discussion, put those links, this link in the chat so that you can go and click on it and give us a survey. As I said, next month, January, we're off, December, we're off, but January 28th, which is the first fourth Saturday of the 2023 year, we're going to be interviewing the chairman of the board, Julian Waits. Today, we're talking to the chapter presidents. Look at those bright faces there. I'm going to stop sharing and get into a conversation here. I thank everybody for coming and showing up. like I said to folks, I've got a couple questions that I'm going to be launching through. But look, let's start the chapter presidents introducing themselves. We'll start with ladies first. Not sure if Brenda, you can start, please, and then in order, men, you can go after that. But Brenda, our first question usually is just give us a little bit about yourself. But it would be great if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your chapter, and just some highlights from the chapter from the year.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Brenda Bjerke. I work at Target and I work in cyber risk. I've actually been at Target about 20 years. I lead the Twin Cities chapter with Mike Salters, who is here. We have been working on expanding the Twin Cities chapter. It's fairly new. We have a pretty small membership, but we are excited that we've been able to expand our leadership team. And so we feel proud of that traction that we've been able to make. And we're just starting to make plans around different types of events.
Great. Before you leave, just give us a hallmark or two. Leave one for Mike to share too, but give us a hallmark or two about the chapter up there in Minneapolis.
A hallmark?
Hallmark, or a highlight, or something exciting, something innovative, something.
Well, one thing I think is really neat is I do think it's neat that we are expanding the leadership team, like I mentioned, and it's, Mike and I both happen to be from Target, but the leadership team is from other companies. Sure. And expanding from people like through LinkedIn networking, through people like that we didn't necessarily know previously. So we feel like as though we are making traction through some of our networking. And so, we feel as though we will be able to start to get traction in terms of the membership, which, especially once we start to have more in person and more connections through connections of connections. We even just had a meeting yesterday and we were talking about, well, what if we had something like, if you bring a friend, you can, I don't know, qualify for a prize or something, but just trying to get that motivation. Just being a new chapter. So we do feel proud in that aspect. That's not just like a couple of people trying to make things happen in the city, but we do have a broader leadership team at this point.
And David, it may be easier, I'm sorry to jump in front of the ladies, but since we're on the Twin Cities, maybe it'll be easier for just to pivot to me and we'll sort of wrap up the discussion on at least the Twin Cities chapter, and then maybe we move to the next chapter.
I'm game.
Okay. So my name is Mike Salters. As Brenda stated, I am also at Target, and I'm also on the Twin Cities leadership team. Both Brenda and I were in Orlando. Wow, I keep saying last week, but it feels like it was a month ago already. Great event for those of you that I met that week. It was a pleasure meeting everyone. I'm still powered up from that event and hoping to bring some of that energy to our Twin Cities chapter. I've been at Target for over 25 years, spending the last 10 in cybersecurity. And so I actually have worked in sort of cyber defense and engineering. And so I have managed a variety of roles related to security operations, data loss prevention, for those of you who were there last week for my presentation, as well as just spending time working with a lot of our business areas, helping them with some of their security needs. So from a Twin Cities chapter standpoint, as we are looking out to 2023, one of the things that we are really focused on is just continuing to expand our chapter membership. I think that as I look back on 2021, we spent a good deal of time focused on awareness, right? Letting folks know, right, that who we are, who Cyversity is, sort of what our mission, and just sort of creating a little buzz in the Twin Cities. We attended a couple different conferences here in the Twin Cities, security-based conferences, and then we had an in-person event as well, where we really were, recruiting some of these new members to really take advantage of some of the benefits that are out there. We also, as we're moving into 2023, one of the things that we will continue to do is to sort of host a quarterly event that's really sort of educational in nature, where we can, just provide some overview or an update on some current event or current technology that is out there from a cybersecurity standpoint. Last year, for example, one of our probably highest attended events was around Log4j. And so we had sort of an industry expert come in and talk about Log4j. What is it? We had a panel of both public and private companies that sort of talking about their responses to Log4j. And it was earlier in the year where it was really a timely topic. And so we will continue to look for opportunities like that where we can sort of bring that sort of current security information to the forefront and be able to share with our members. And our plan, like I said, is to do that on a quarterly basis. And then lastly, we're looking to just continue to build some partnerships across some of the other organizations here within the Twin Cities area that will, in some respects, sort of service the same clientele, right? And so there's an organization called BUILT, which stands for Blacks United in Leading Technology. There's a Twin Cities chapter here, and being in cybersecurity, a lot of those individuals are also sort of in information technology. So we can partner with organizations like BUILT and with organizations like WESIS, which is Women in Cybersecurity, where there's just some of that overlap. We feel there's a good opportunity to partner more in the Twin Cities to provide awareness both across our organizations and to also be able to tailor that message so that they can decide, right, where they want to play, how much they want to be engaged, and help them also understand that just because you may be a member of a different organization, you can also participate in Cyversity. So obviously I was prepared for that question.
Apparently. So actually I've got them all listed. I've got all the questions listed here, but thank you very much for going through every last one of them.
So yeah, that is everything you would want to know about the Twin Cities.
That's great, Mike. I mean, all that says to me is that not only were you prepared, but you put a lot of thought into this. You and Brenda put a lot of thought into this and how you're going to develop the chapter. And you've answered at least all of my questions, but feel free to answer them when I ask again. When I ask again, feel free to jump in again. But so let's move to any of the other chapters, whether it be New York or Bay Area.
I would love to go first, just because you said alphabetical order, and obviously B is second in line. So I mean,
I gotta tell you, sometimes this competitive thing is always great, right? Chapters competing for who's going to get the Globe Chapter of the Year, but that's great. Bennett, please go.
Well, one that's hard to follow up on, so I kind of shot myself in the foot there. But nonetheless, how y'all doing? My name is Bennett Hendricks III. I am the founder of Cyber Bennett, but I'm also the Texas President chapter as well. Of course, what Dave did not do is mention that he is the Vice President of the Texas chapter as well. However, one of the questions was, what is a flagship or something of importance that is unique about our chapter?
Sure.
Well, that would be that we are the only chapter that is state-based. All other chapters are more regional to city or two cities, chapter Twin Cities. However, with ours being a state-wide chapter as of right now, it allows us to be able to cultivate ourselves in different communities and try to contribute as a whole to the overall mission of Cyversity. And we'll be able to get ideally a bigger audience as we have members in each part of the cities. The main 4 cities we have, of course, would be Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston. Me, myself, I'm located in San Antonio, Davis in Austin, but we have other members as well in Dallas/Fort Worth and Houston. I'll keep it simple there.
Yeah, so thanks very much, Bennett. And who would be next? Would that be Kurby, or be Dr. Davis, Dr. Harris, or would that be MK?
Yeah, I'm happy to go next. MK Palmore. I'm the founder of the Bay Area chapter, also part of the Bay Area chapter leadership team currently, and also a member of the board of directors for Cyversity. I launched the Bay Area chapter back in 2019. and have since had the opportunity to grow in terms of membership and bringing the news of Cyversity to a fairly diverse population here in the Bay Area. Some of the things of note that we've been able to accomplish in the Bay Area are really around scholarship opportunities and training for folks aspiring to jump into the cybersecurity industry. We've partnered with the likes of the SANS organization, and we've had some success when soliciting corporate sponsors to sponsor programs for scholarships. We've run one successful program and are in the midst of collecting applications and launching what is essentially a global version of that program, targeting minority populations in North and South America and EMEA. So those two programs, I think, are indicative of the focus of the Bay Area chapter, which is really around providing skills training to folks interested in breaking into this industry. And I'm looking forward to the conversation during this hour. In my day job, I'm a cybersecurity advisor with Google Cloud. And prior to joining Google Cloud, I was with Palo Alto Networks, which I always like to mention because without their support, we never would have been able to launch the Bay Area chapter.
Absolutely. And previous to Palo Alto, you are definitely one of our nation's protectors working with the FBI.
Yeah.
Appreciate that as well.
Yeah. Career in government prior to coming into the private sector.
Absolutely. Kurby, you next, sir.
Sure. Hi,
And feel free to introduce your partner Hayden, that's also here as part of your membership as well, your leadership.
Absolutely.
As well. Yes, sir.
Hi. Yep. So Kurby Brown, I am the current and possibly outgoing president of the New York City chapter. I was part of the founding group along with Eric Perminter and Doyen DeLu and Jason Gonzalez. So what's unique about our chapter is that that founding group is really still in the leadership. Hayden Wilson, who will be taking over as president shortly, maybe in the new year. He joined us right after that. I would say, Mike, we're a regional chapter, but we kind of cover New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and that all may be still not the size of Texas, but we are, we have a big sphere of influence as well. I will introduce Hayden, our incoming president. He's been kind of driving the 2023 mission, with a lot of enthusiasm, and I think he'll have a lot more to talk about what we have done in the future. So Hayden, if you want to jump in and say hello.
You can come on screen too, Hayden, if you don't mind. If you're
Sure.
able to, you don't mind.
Yeah. Hi, folks. I'm Hayden Wilson. I think I met a number of you in Orlando a few weeks ago, which was great. So as Kurby said, I'm part of the leadership team right now, sort of in charge of our membership. And sort of like the Twin Cities area, we were sort of challenged with our membership. So we actually looking at that as one of our main objectives for 2023 in terms of growing, and not only growing the membership, but also sort of having them more engaged in our events and providing assistance to the leadership team. So that's basically what we also looking at. What Kurby didn't say is that one of the things we were able to sort of basically kick off within the last couple of weeks is also an educational type program, partnering with the SANS, I believe it is. To
InfoSec Institute.
InfoSec Institute, my mistake, right. To do a boot camp with a C-RISC. So currently we have 3 cohorts in that, which was sort of sponsored by some of our partners we're working with, and we're looking to leverage that sort of corporate partnership come 2023, so we could increase that cohort number to probably 5. All right.
Great.
So that's basically where our goals are for 2023, looking at our membership, solidifying the leadership, so we can, and also reaching out to working with other chapters throughout the nation, so we can sort of create some synergies there and sort of leverage off of each other rather than really trying to reinvent the wheel all the time.
Sure. We'll dig back into that particular statement about how the chapter can be working. What's the process for chapters working together? But
hey, David, I like that. One more thing that's unique about us that I think is really helpful. I don't know how common this is across the chapters, but our leadership team is very diverse in terms of experience. We have, Eric Permenter, who's one of the founders and early, joined us in Cyversity, and who's a founder of his own company. To myself, I'm a head of a security program at a mid-major company. To we have, career changers and people, very new to security. So we have a very diverse group of leadership, and I think just for those who are maybe not in leadership right now in your regions, if you don't have the experience, you're not a CISO, you're not own a company, you still can be participate in leadership and make a difference within your chapter. So
absolutely, thank you very much. Hey, Dr. Harris, you're going to round out the introductions before I jump into the more detailed questions. But tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization and your chapter.
All right, yeah, be glad to. Kevin Harris, my background's infrastructure on the security side. Prior to transitioning into higher ed, where I'm at now at Stillman College, where I help support our cybersecurity clinics, which is a partnership with the Mid-South chapter that I'm part of the leadership, and we'll kind of get into what the cybersecurity clinics are a little bit later, as well as their program chair of our CIS departments. And one of the unique, I guess, things about the Mid-South chapter is we represent mainly Tennessee and Alabama are kind of our primary market areas, but like the other chapters mentioned, we get people from some of the surrounding states that join in on things as well. So, we're happy to support those, and we picked the peak of a pandemic to start a chapter, which we started then. So our initial events have been virtual, and so now we're expanding and looking to do more things in person, and so that's really, we're excited now to get that opportunity to start doing some in-person events. We had one in Memphis recently, supporting the CS for All conference, and then just this past Everything Runs Together, I guess that was just Thursday at Stillman College in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We had an engagement there about public interest technology there that we collaborated with. So glad to be here, and look forward to sharing some more about the things that the chapter has this year.
Great. Appreciate that very much, and welcome, Kevin. Dr. Harris. I like to say that. That makes me feel good to hear that. One of the other questions that I had shared with you folks is that every region has its own characteristics. I can speak for Texas. Actually, I can speak for New York and Texas because I'm from Brooklyn. But I can speak for Texas specifically by saying that, we're a tech hub here in Texas. It's really growing and developing. We're also a manufacturing hub. We're also an agricultural hub, and we're, of course, obviously, we're, a healthcare hub. So I don't know, I heard MK talk about some of the things that they're doing in the Bay Area as a, especially in Silicon Valley as a fintech or a cybersecurity or a technology hub, and how that stuff is reaching down, how their work is reaching down to South America. So why don't some of you just jump in and talk about the characteristics of your particular region, how your chapter is leaning into those characteristics, developing your security, your chapter along with those characteristics, and how that actually is helping you grow your chapter in the region where you're established. And don't be shy, anyone. Just jump in there.
I guess I can jump in with one. So with us focusing Tennessee and Alabama, Alabama has the most HBCUs of any state at 14, and Tennessee with a high number at 6. That's really a focus that we're looking at starting. And Alabama has both colleges and community colleges that are HBCUs. And so we're really looking to find pathways to get students that may not be aware that cybersecurity is an interest, select them and to help find opportunities to even, fund their memberships and scholarships. So that's one of the areas that we're really pushing is to kind of strengthen that pathway from students that enter into the cyber fields, but also that students that are in majors, cyber majors or other majors that could lead them into careers to help find them job opportunities from when they graduate. And a lot of times, when we think about the Mid-South, we think Nashville with country music, and we might think Alabama with more agriculture, but take Alabama, for instance, there's a lot of aviation and aerospace there. Nashville, there's a lot of tech that is moving from other areas of the country into Nashville, as long as both Tennessee and Alabama have a lot of healthcare. And so all of those have a lot of cyber that's surrounding, as well as, music, both in Nashville and Memphis areas require a lot of cyber when you're dealing with intellectual property and those. So we're looking, to kind of lean on all of those industries as partners as we build out our chapter.
Perfect. I think Bennett, you had were going to say something, but took your hand down. Anything from you, Kurby or MK or Brenda?
I would say in the Twin Cities, we are fortunate to have several large industries, like businesses in our area. I mean, we have other retailers, we have manufacturing, agriculture, medical, we have universities. No matter what the industry is, you do need cybersecurity. So in that aspect, we have done some purposeful relationship building throughout those different business areas. We do partnerships, and we try not to, people do move from company to company, but it's not like this stealing kind of environment, I guess I would say. But it is definitely an information sharing kind of environment within the cybersecurity arena. And so that's sort of a nice environment. And so I would think like through that too, Mike and I would be able to kind of build up our chapter in that way too. I don't know, Mike, if you have more to say.
Yeah, I would say the couple things I would throw out is here in the Twin Cities, I think we are 5th in the country for total number of Fortune 500 companies. So I think New York is like number 1, but most people don't realize that here in the Twin Cities, we have, I think, 20 Fortune 500 companies. So on the retail side, the Targets, the Best Buys, for manufacturing, we get the 3Ms and the General Mills. And so I guess the other stat that sort of goes along with that is there are more millionaires in Minnesota per capita than any other state. So one of the reasons I'm here is there's just money to be made. You got to go where the money takes you. So given all those companies, concentrated here in the Twin Cities, right, the growing demand for cybersecurity professionals, there is definitely sort of a growing need here. And to Brenda's point, right, like our CISO, he is, sort of part of a sort of organization here where several CISOs, across these Fortune 500 companies sort of meet on a regular basis, right? Their teams, I know Brenda, myself, we've been sort of a part of some of these CISO events. And so that's sort of building that community. And we want to, obviously that at sort of at that level, it's a little bit of everybody, right? And so one of the things that I'm really looking at is, being able to take this community that these Fortune 500 CISOs have developed here in the Twin Cities and ensuring that the people of color and the women understand that Cyversity is out there and can potentially help with some of their unique needs that sort of this larger CISO organization probably is not going to be able to address.
Great. MK, you want to add anything or Kurby?
Sure. So I mean, very quickly, everyone knows about the history of Silicon Valley. One of the challenges I think in this particular region is that there is so much in the way of technology companies, everything from the startup community all the way up to mature industry participants. And the real challenge is getting to the social impact teams and the folks who are in a position to actually offer financial support and sponsorships to the activities that we're engaged in. And so, part of the focus and effort around 2023 for our chapter is certainly going to be expanding the outreach and footprint to these technology companies, all of whom have, at least in theory, committed to supporting DEI efforts across the board. And so we're going to, take a little bit of action and try and make sure that we're getting in front of these folks and pitching the Cyversity concept, but also what we've been able to accomplish collectively throughout the chapters and overall membership over the past several years. I think it's a compelling story, and I think oftentimes as chapter leaders, we spend a ton of time trying to carve out activities and try and create reasons and purpose for people to get together, but we also have to do, I think, a more extensive job at getting corporate leaders on board with our activities. So yeah, that's what I would add to that particular question.
Yeah, so I'll just add, mine is kind of an opportunity and kind of maybe, a lesson learned, I don't know, that's a future question, but with the New York City chapter or metro area, we have New York City, obviously, Wall Street, all the financial companies, the tech that David mentioned. New Jersey is heavy in pharmaceutical companies, the Johnson & Johnsons of the world, Novartis, all here. I don't think we've done a great job of kind of tapping into those resources. I know that's something as Hayden, is taking over, he's really working on trying to expand our relationships with different, not only members, but also with corporations. So I think that's an opportunity for us to really grow our membership and, and maybe get more of these kind of industry titans involved in supporting Cyversity.
Right. We've got great points that you both have made, and it's probably something that's really heavy on all of our minds is how do we get corporations to really invest and get involved? What is it that they need? What do we have that we can offer them? What's the quid pro quo, if you want to use that term? What is it that we need to say and give to them that'll help them see not only the benefit today, but the benefit tomorrow, and the benefit, exponentially across the board in every way. It's profitability, it's bottom line expansion, it's market share, all of these things. I mean, what do we need to collectively as chapters say to these corporations that'll help them see, the positive and the benefits of working with us?
I think it depends on what you want to kind of say, what you want to focus on. Like, is it pipeline? Is it retention? Is it, training? Like for me, one of the things I really look to Cyversity for my team is retention. And I just was so excited about the conference. I'm so excited about the mentoring program. I mean, I just attended the last couple of sessions and I've already gone back to my team. I'm like, you guys, this is so great. And so I'm hoping to get a lot more energy there. And if my team's excited, that's where my company will get excited. And so, I think it just kind of depends. But if we want to be like a pipeline organization, it's a different answer.
Okay, a pipeline, and you say if it's a pipeline answer, it's a different answer, and it's different from people versus money. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying, like, if it's retention, it's like the conferences and things like that, and the mentoring programs. But if it's I want to source from Cyversity, like right now, I wouldn't say, like, when I'm hiring, like, I don't think of Cyversity as like, oh, I hope I can find somebody from Cyversity. That's not like my first thing I think about.
Sure. We just got to compete to get to that level where you choose us first next time. That's it. Okay. So anyone else want to chime in on and answer that question as well?
Just to pivot on, the point Brenda was making just now about not necessarily coming to Cyversity looking for pipeline talent. That is part of the aspirational goal of the organization. And so, as chapter leaders, as we continue to seed, corporate sponsors in the particular geographic regions that we're located in, one of the things that we all should be working towards is creating a better way to, one, to bring folks into Cyversity so that it can be both opportunities to network and find available opportunities in the job fill, and from the corporate end, we should aspire to be an organization where corporate entities turn to us for cyber talent. And if we can continue to work towards that, I think it creates both that direct and indirect opportunity for corporate sponsors to really make a change in this narrative around women and underrepresented minorities in technology and the cybersecurity field. So we may not be there right now, but I do think that, over the course of the next several years, if we continue plugging away at ideas like creating, more sourceable job sourcing and job boards within Cyversity, and bringing more folks into the organization as members, we will at some point have a very viable field of folks capable of, interviewing and availing themselves of these opportunities in technology.
That's a good point. Question to the membership development. I mean, we've had a large membership. Like most organizations, we had a large membership. We've dropped off a little bit. And now we're gaining. And then even since the conference, we've gained quite a bit of members. What is it about the particular chapter that you're running individually or collectively? What is it about that chapter that is an attraction for members in your region? What are you doing? What are you engaged in that says, hey, come see us, come work with us. This is the best place to be. And that's whether it's a women, a minority, or anybody, right? What are we doing?
Yeah, people got to feel like they're getting something out of it, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm a big proponent of networking. I tell anyone that I talk to that, the most important thing you have available to you is a growing, vibrant and robust network. I think Cyversity is a good step in the direction of creating a network for folks. But the other thing is tangible resources, which is why in the Bay Area, we've sort of concentrated our efforts around scholarships and training. I think if we're not in a position to offer members something they can sometimes put their hands on, that's going to be a viable step for them in the next direction in their career progression, it makes it difficult to create a compelling reason why we want folks to join. So it's always a combination of intangibles, but you got to have something that people can actually utilize to move forward, catapult themselves.
Sure. And human nature really sometimes focuses on what's in it for me. Dr. Harris, tell us, I know you're focused around HBCUs, and it's really great. It's a really great thing to do, especially since a lot of folks that we know in our communities do go through HBCUs as part of their alternative education or their primary education. Well, what is it that you're doing in the Mid-South, and does that include Missouri as well?
So they're over by Memphis. We do touch a little bit of Missouri, so we do get a couple people on that side that do come down as well. But
Sure.
I think the Memphis area is the furthest that direction that we've had an event.
Sure. So tell us a little bit more about what it is that you're doing and utilizing with methods and means and methodologies that you're using to attract folks to the Mid-South chapter.
One of the things that we've really just in the process of building out on capacity around is our cybersecurity clinics. And so it's based off of a model similar to law firms pro bono, is where we'll have individuals that will go out and work with small to mid-sized businesses and train them in cybersecurity awareness. So these companies, small businesses that may not have the funds or resources previously to have anybody come in to talk with them, trainers, some of our entry-level individuals would go out and perform some of this training. One, for two things: it gives them the experience to put something on their portfolio, their resume, to say that they have, had some experience. Because sometimes we know people that are new career entrants, they run across that roadblock all the time. Is what experience as you have, even if you have education, certificates, where's the experience? So we're kind of focusing there to help them get some experience, and also on that other end for the businesses, what will they get, and that's something that we're looking to try to give them to say, okay, small to mid-sized businesses, if you join in as a partner, this is something that you'll receive as kind of your benefit of being one of our partners. So that's one of the initiatives that we're really going to push forward here in 2023. And for the businesses, they would get it at no cost to the small business. So if it's something that they haven't had the resources to fund, that will be a benefit to them.
Yes, same for you, Hayden. I know you're the guy that's coming in and taking over for Kurby, and you've had some conversations about, you've made some statements about expanding the membership in your earlier statements. Is there something specific that you're planning on doing that will make the folks in my community of Brownsville, Brooklyn, turn around and go, oh, okay, I'm interested in joining that program because there's a pathway to, or there's a carrot at the end of the stick, or there's something at the end of the rainbow. Give us a little bit about what you're thinking of. You and of course Kurby are thinking of. He's not going yet. He's not
and
going
the rest,
yet.
no, he's not. And yeah, he's not going to be allowed to go far anyway. So it's a very short rope. Basically what we're looking at is one, leveraging off of the program that we just kicked off with InfoSec, because like MK said, you need to offer something. There have to be some sort of offering, as well as one of the things that we sort of spoke about in leadership is getting out to the high schools and colleges, not necessarily waiting on the college, but high school area, just to put cybersecurity in people's mind, not only from a job opportunity perspective, but also from a, it's just good practices, because we have a lot of kids that play on phones, that access computers, do stuff on computers, so just being able to talk about best practices at a high school level, could, because when you mention cybersecurity to people, first thing that comes to most people's mind is hacking. I think being able to sort of broaden up their perspective, that sort of initial thought about cybersecurity. It's not only about hacking. There's a broader sort of spectrum that it covers. I think that is sort of where we're going to be targeting, really, to sort of really get into to bring in new members,
I think the other thing that we also talked about and we struggled this year to do is kind of in-person events. During the early part of the year, we were doing a pretty good job of doing the engage events like this online, and had varying levels of attendance. But sometimes the topic and the speakers were really awesome. They brought more and more folks out. Had more folks reach out with interest, saying, "Hey, we want to support." I think trying to do that in person is something that I would like to see us do in the future. And we've talked about trying to, get spaces in the city and having speakers come, and maybe getting someone from, national. I know Bev is not too far from us from a national perspective, but that's one thing we want to do is more in-person events to bring people out to.
Gotcha. Hearing all of you speak, and by the way, if anyone else has a question, please raise your hand so that you can ask the question. We're going to be going for about another 45 minutes or so or less. But raise your hand if you have a question, if you want to ask any of these chapter presidents a question. One question that I have that just came up while we were talking is this whole idea of chapter collaboration. I saw one of my colleagues here in Austin that I interviewed last year, or this year rather, Heather Grant, was talking about how all of our events that are sponsored, all of our events that we work on together as chapters can be sort of put together and focused on a specific effort collaboratively, but focused on one effort specifically. That means we're bringing all of our attention to bear and to focus on something that is critical and important to every one of the chapters. A good example is membership development. How do we collaborate together and do an event of some sort, whether virtually or in person, that actually just draws members to us. Is there something that we can do collaboratively, virtually, that can bring more people to the table to ask more questions, to ask not only more questions, but to generate more interest and generate more attraction for the chapters?
Hey, Dave, I'd like to
Yes, sir.
tackle that one at least briefly. So I can speak on my experience, of course. And so one of my things I speak most about is, transitioning into cybersecurity, whether it's on Cyversity's end or my own business end, right? However, I was reached out to by someone in the Atlanta chapter to speak to their high school girls or high schoolers about cybersecurity because of my young age, of course. I've also reached out to one or two fellow chapter leaders during this call to let them know I'm more than willing to do such a thing. Now, why do I say this? Because as a young professional who can be relatable to those high school or college students, other chapter leaders can, outsource per se to other leaders for specific things. For my example, like I said, entry-level professionals, even mid-level professionals. Whereas, and I also may reach out to MK, which I have done before, getting advice on, sponsorship, because that's something he has been able to utilize to thrive the Bay Area chapter, who's been killing it since they, joined. Or they've been created. So I say
It's
this all
all
to
right.
say,
Wait, it's all right. It's all right.
game recognized game. I can understand
doubt.
exactly what he's doing.
No
So but yeah. So my point is, we don't know until we vocalize it to one another. And so I've already mentioned, some of my preferences, whatever other people's preferences may be. Let it be known to the other members, chapter leaders, and we can go from there. So that's just my quick input.
I'm seeing some things in the chat, unless somebody else has something to say.
I got a quick comment on this. One of the things that we're going to focus on, and I've been thinking intently about this going into 2023, and this is very specific to the question that you're asking, David, how can we get more folks to the table, is that in the Bay Area, we're going to take on the mantra of not doing anything alone. There's too much, I think, overlay with other groups, industry groups here in the Bay Area. For instance, we have a very vibrant ISSA chapter here in the Bay Area. There's an ISACA vibrant chapter, ISC squared. And so one of the things that we're going to do moving into 2023 is that every in-person event that we have, we're going to collaborate with one or more of those groups in order to bring more folks to the table. There's such an overlay in our industry of all of these various groups, many of whom have sort of the target population or folks that we're looking to grow and bring into Cyversity. And I think the more that we can collaborate, in other words, don't go it alone in this space. The more that we can collaborate with other groups, I think the more exposure Cyversity and its mission will get to others. Case in point, our end of year in-person event, which now hopefully we'll pull off our second iteration of this. We had a great in-person event at the end of the year last year that we held as a chapter. But this year we're teaming up with UC Berkeley Center for Long-Term Cybersecurity to co-host the event. They were part of the team that we brought in to help co-host the event that we had at RSA this year. And so they too are looking for ways to bring more folks to the table. And so we've gotten together. We're going to have an end of year in-person event here in the Bay Area on December 8th. For those of you that are still in heavy travel and find yourselves in the Bay Area, you're welcome to attend the event. It'll be close to UC Berkeley. And it's another opportunity regionally to bring folks together around a combined topic. We're going to do some tech talks. We're going to have, a great keynote from one of the VPs here at Google. And it's just going to be a great event. So my advice to the other chapters is think about collaborating with these other entities that are in your region as a way to get more folks to the table. And in 2023, we're not going to do a single thing out here in the Bay Area that doesn't have a partnership associated with it.
MK, can I ask a question on that? So does that need to be coordinated with national, or are there I've asked questions about that in the past, and I just wasn't sure what our capabilities were to kind of co-brand with, minorities in cybersecurity, or like I said, ISACA locally.
Certainly you
Thank you
should loop,
for-
you should loop in Bev and to the degree, you know, necessary, maybe in some instances, Larry, to make sure that our relationships are solid. But there's so much underway that we have that are partnerships at the national level with many of these organizations that should float down to the chapter level. So in most instances, 99% of the cases, you can just, you know, leverage and create those local relationships on your own. But I would highly suggest chapters think about doing that, because when you think about planting this flag out all by yourself, trying to get the word out all by yourself, it's just sometimes it's extremely difficult, and we might be missing the mark on an opportunity to really include, really be inclusionary and bring others to the table. And so that's what we're going to be doing out west. I would highly advise others to think about it as well.
Just to answer that quick question, just to answer that question quickly, we are not allowed to make partnerships on behalf of the entire organization. However, in regards of our specific chapters, that's where partnerships could be created, but we just have to let it be known that it's specific to that chapter and not speak on behalf of the international organization, just to add some clarity.
Thank you.
Perfect. Let's do it. Right. That's all that says is yes, and let's do it. Mike, you've been quiet now. This is not you. this is not you, Michael. Come on now.
Well, no, yes,
you didn't shoot every bullet in your chamber, did you?
No. I think one of the things that I've been thinking about is just along those lines of, and we talked about this before in terms of understanding I know I'll speak specifically around the Twin Cities, that as far as membership, our membership falls into sort of three different groups. We've got the folks who are trying to get into cybersecurity, we've got those career changers, and then we've got the experienced professionals. And they all require something a little bit different. Their goals, and how they will achieve those goals, right? Those are going to be slightly different paths. And so at our events, we've begin to realize that, hey, right, we in some case trying to meet the needs of all three groups is going to be challenging, and we're really trying to maybe focus in one particular area. Primarily, I would say that there's a little more focus on existing professionals, cybersecurity professionals, and that we really are focused on sort of building that community. And there's just never been any sort of organization like this for experienced professionals. And I feel that there's a higher demand in the Twin Cities for that group. And so I would say we're going to probably spend a little more time on bringing in those experienced professionals, focusing on things like mentoring, focusing on ways that we can, continue to sort of build their knowledge base. And then begin to look at these entry level, whether it's career change or sort of post college, more of that entry level, those individuals trying to get into the space. And so, and that sort of aligns sort of with Brenda's comment around, right, we're not necessarily leveraging Cyversity as a pipeline per se today. That is one of our goals, but once again, I think in terms of what we see regionally for our community is really this focus more on these experienced professionals and really building that community and helping address some of those immediate needs that they have.
Got it. Hey, Michael Woodson, I'm gonna come to you in a minute. Just want to follow up on a question with you, Michael and Brenda. Is there not a need for entry level and mid-level folks in your community?
Oh, there's definitely the need, right?
So,
and so it's not a matter of the need, it's really more a function of where can we make the biggest change with the resources we currently have, right? And so we are better equipped here in the short term to really address the needs of those experienced professionals. In the meantime, right, we'll be learning and as I listen to MK and Kevin and some of the things that they're doing, right, I'm going, oh, okay, right, here's plans that we can begin to build out, right, so that we can begin to focus more on that pipeline. So it's just more of a now next approach versus that we're not able to do it.
Good. Mike Woodson.
Hi, Mike Woods from Boston. So new to the fray. Wanted to find out about starting a chapter, New England chapter, Boston chapter, and also put on the table. Have you thought about partnering with the institutions in your local geos? I'll just put that in.
Educational institutions?
Yes, such as. So for example, at Cambridge College, for example, they have a program where they are focused on developing people who want to get in the field from traditional or non-traditional entryways into a program of cybersecurity. And there's a lot of effort to kind of duplicate that at institutions such as Northeastern University, to try to reach out to those people, because again, the goal is to build a pipeline of, and try to contribute to eliminate the gap that we're experiencing and seeing today. So.
Got it. And on the line or in the conference today is somebody else in Boston. Omar Barrero is up there in Boston too. So you guys that are chapter leaders now, chapter presidents now, one of the questions that I had sent to you is, what does it take? How much effort does it take to establish a chapter in a specific region? And what's the challenge there? Give us some feedback on what you're going to experience in developing a chapter.
Well, in Twin Cities, it was an awareness thing, right? So, getting out and making sure that those, whether, like I said, my three little categories of getting into the field or experienced professionals, how do they begin to hear about Cyversity? How do they get engaged with Cyversity, right? And one of the things that we did was to get a booth at a lot of the local security conferences or IT conferences, right? So we've got a little booth, and honestly, here in the Twin Cities, back in May, every year they have what's called Secure 360, which is one of our larger in-person events here. And so we made a point of going out to that conference, knowing that it is sort of the premier security conference in the Twin Cities every year. And that was a great way for us to really sort of sit along with, sort of in the exhibit room, right? As all these folks are walking around, it was a great way to really get that awareness out there. And it did, I would say that's probably was the biggest event that drove some of our membership. And so I would definitely, back to this partnering and strategic partnering, right? Working with some of those organizations that are holding those conferences, that was a great way for us to get the word out in the Twin Cities.
Right. I'm waiting for one of you other folks to jump in.
Hey, let's be realistic about this. It's super hard to actually launch these chapters. And the challenge is that, we're all doing this as a part of our passion, right? And no one's getting paid for any of this. This is, people are compelled, I think, to engage on this topic because they feel strongly about it. And it can be challenging finding, a team or group of others that you can rely on in terms of leadership to be able to sort of carry the weight of what's required in terms of the monthly engagement and chapter activities, trying to make sure that you're not the singular person that's planning everything and doing everything. It can be super challenging. And on top of all of that, oh, by the way, it's really helpful if you find a corporate sponsor, which you need to get in front of and actually ask for some dollars to help support your activities there locally. So it can be super hard. And again, just to reiterate this, these are everyone that's online here on a Saturday afternoon. This is an important topic for them, right? This is not something that, it's just kind of a fly by night kind of thing. People are motivated about it, but still, and again, we all have primary jobs. We got lives that we have to address and that kind of thing. And you got to carve out time for this.
Absolutely.
I would just say from the New York City chapter perspective, we did have two in-person events, and the very first one was our launch event. We spent a lot of time kind of advertising and sending an email blast out, and we had 8 people show up, and that was including the 3 or 4 leaders. So I think having, it's very entrepreneurial. So you'll have to deal with those failures and kind of not let that discourage you from continuing to kind of put yourself out there. And I think to MK's point about, kind of one person doing the whole thing, I think you need that mix of talents, right? Someone who's going to pound a pavement looking for, for corporate sponsors, someone who may host your engage events, so you need that mix of talents to help you make sure you have, kind of as many bases covered as possible to give you the best chance to succeed.
I definitely agree with
both.
Kirby's point because, of course, leadership is important. But I would like to say, like, another one is like that horse. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. All of us on this call are very obviously passionate about this topic. So it's just more trying to get this type of opportunity and realization to other people that ensures that they show up. That makes it, I won't say difficult, but it's one of the challenges at least. So just being able to advocate the company organization properly so people understand the benefits of it is definitely a skill that is needed in order to thrive.
Yeah,
Dr. Harris, did you have something to say, sir?
Yeah, agree with all that. I think, into managing expectations to where at the beginning it's going to be extremely large amount of work. And then if you do have some of those events like Kirby mentioned that, initially don't go, to the level that you had hoped to, that's okay. Everything's got to start somewhere. And just that, just to keep that expectation. And also Hayden mentioned this earlier, but don't try to reinvent the wheel. Reach out to all the chapter leaders, are willing to, kind of share what they learned and what they're doing. And so to take that chance to reach out and just say, hey, kind of like Bennett mentioning, if you're reaching out to MK about, okay, fundraising, the opportunity. Everybody's got specialties, and don't feel that you're on an island if you're starting a new chapter. Everybody's here to lend a hand.
What I haven't seen, thank you, Kevin, appreciate that. What I haven't seen is the chapters themselves, independent of anyone else, just getting together in a conversation and saying, here's my problem. What do you guys think about this problem? And how do we, because it's coming to your neighborhood, it's here with me now, but it's coming to your neighborhood soon. How do we solve for this problem? And I think, in this industry that we're in, the smartest people address problems. They go looking for trouble and they solve it before it gets there, or they solve it before it becomes a problem in their region. Do we think that way? Do we feel that way, that the chapters, and that's inclusive of Cassandra and Nilda, who said she couldn't be here this morning. She just texted me and said she was having some other challenges. Is that something that we should do as just chapter presidents and chapter leaders? Just get together, mind share, mind collaborate on what to do about our collective challenges.
I've reached out to some people individually just to, pick their brain about how to do this, or to get, I think I've taken slides from MK and some of his, from their engage events. But I think that's a worthwhile idea. Now, maybe this is a question as well. The leadership meetings that we were having, they kind of ebb and flows. I thought those are good places sometime to get at least, meet some folks and then maybe take questions offline and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, Kirby, I think you're right. You're right on. We had developed a decent cadence, I think, in the past year of leadership meetings. We need to recommit to that going into 2023. And even if it's just an hour to hear top level stuff from each of the chapters, and then open the floor for discussion, it'll help exchange. It'll help with that knowledge exchange that David is trying to touch on, and trying to make sure that we're all smarter about how we go about engaging in our individual communities. Plus, it's always too a great opportunity to highlight some of the things that are going on in specific regions, so that we can again duplicate that in the regions that we're in, and really make it well known throughout the entire organization. So I think we're going to try and do a better job at those, making sure those periodic chapter meetings happen. And hopefully folks can, from a consistency standpoint, at least participate in those on a monthly basis.
Yeah, that was sort of my thought, is really I know National likes to share messages with us, but I think we can carve out time to sort of have chapter specific topics, and that would be, we're all there. So that would be the perfect forum for that.
I mean, this is our tribe.
Yeah.
Right. This is our tribe. And if it takes a village, as you often hear, it takes a village. What is the village doing itself? All right, because you're gonna get the support from corporate that you need, or feedback from corporate that you need. I think sometimes in these nucleus conversations, things come out that that you give yourself an opportunity to really be specific on and talk to. That's my mom. my mom who lives with me now. I moved here from New York. She comes over with this big placard. But that's cool. Hey, so I guess this is hardly a complaint session of any means, but I mean, what things always go good, but you heard Kurby, like we did a big, because I remember Kurby, it was like a big bonanza of influence flying out into the ether, letting everyone know that New York was coming online, and then 8 people show up. It's kind of a a challenge. How do you deal with the stress and the challenges of these chapters when things are not going as expected? How do you deal with that? I mean, sometimes that's like a real challenge or a stressor, but how do you deal with that?
Well, for me personally, for me personally, I think now we had 8 people show up, but 2 of them, joined and became active members, and they, really, started to see some benefit of it. So I'm in this to help people who may, when I got into the industry, didn't really have, and maybe partly my fault, I didn't reach out to anyone to ask for help, so having that guidance. So anytime we can help at least 1 or 2 people, then, it's worth the time. Even if we had engaged events and someone reached out offline and made a connection, and and we tried to give them some assistance wherever they were going, I think that makes it worth it. I think it's great to have big goals, but sometimes that 1 or 2 people can be more impactful than having 35, 40 people at an event. If you're really helping that one person.
Sure. One of the other questions I'd like to ask you guys, she goes again. one of the questions I'd like to ask you guys is, I mean, we know that chapter development is tough. Any particular lessons that you'd like to share with some of the folks? Because I know that there's a gentleman, Greg Richardson, who's on the line here. He's from Dallas. He's probably going to jump into that Dallas chapter with Bennett and myself. In San Antonio, we got Dr. Pate, the newly refreshed Dr. Pate, that's with Khaki Security down there, that may be looking at supporting us in chapter development. We're going to try to get Omar out in Boston and Mr. Woodson out in Boston to maybe consider starting a chapter there. I mean, what's the lesson learned here for these folks that may be interested?
The first thing I would say is to automate as much as you can. Whether that be posts, it'll just help you with your team, with your team's duties. Just automate. So something as simple as scheduling a post on LinkedIn or your emails out in the morning for all your local members. Automation is key, and it will save you a lot of stress. I learned that the hard way.
No doubt. Anything from anyone else?
I would add just sort of roles and responsibilities, right? Just knowing what you're responsible for, and ensuring across that leadership team, right, that everyone understands that and is accountable for that, so that you know who's doing what and when. Basic blocking and tackling. Yep. MK?
Now, just +1 on what Mike just said. It's almost like you got to have, a leadership team. If you have 4 folks on the leadership team, we run kind of a flat leadership team out here in the Bay Area. I don't like using terms like president and vice president and all that kind of stuff. But what we do is we have folks who are individually responsible for different verticals within our chapter activities. And like Mike was saying, as long as you do that, make sure folks are accountable for what they're responsible for bringing to the table, I think it can be really helpful. Because if you don't do that, you can really feel like you're sort of bearing this whole thing on your own if you're the person that kind of starts a chapter, and that's not where you want to be, because that's not sustainable.
Absolutely.
I would say, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead, Kurby.
I was going to say that the one lesson I learned is we tried to meet every week, and it became like a work meeting, and then it's sometimes harder and harder to get up for. So I think not overcommitting yourself and being more kind of mindful of kind of people's times and remembering it's a volunteer organization and most of us have full-time jobs. So to be mindful of that when you're setting your agenda.
Full-time jobs and full-time families and full-time lives. What about you, Brenda?
I would just say be really open to new, fresh ideas, even if they're like totally something you would have never thought of, even if they're things you're initially like, I don't know. But just be really open to new ideas because they might work out really great.
No
So.
doubt. No doubt.
And I think whenever we're thinking about starting a new chapter, just use your existing networks and encourage, people to become part of Cyversity even before the chapter is formed. And so they're already kind of in the community. They understand what's going on. They're able to kind of participate in, engage events on the international level and already be in the fold, so to say.
Great. Great. We got a couple other folks on the line. Any of the other participants or attendees here want to come on and ask a question about your particular region? And I'm not shy about calling people, right? I'm not shy about that. So anyone else want to ask a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Harrison. How you doing, sir? Looks like there's two of you. There's a Harrison Carter and one in Nashville, Tennessee. Go ahead, Harrison.
This is creepy.
No question there, Harrison? Okay, good. Okay. I'm going to move.
The other one does, though.
Well, let's have one of you guys ask a question.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity and this program and organization as well. This question kind of goes to Kevin Harris, actually. Excuse me, Dr. Harris. For the clinics that you mentioned, I was curious on just how that operates I'm out of Nashville. I'm not exactly sure where them itself are you located, but I'm just curious on how those clinics operate and how can someone take part when they are available.
Yeah, so I'm actually in Nashville as well, so we'll definitely have to get together. And so as we're one of the first things we're doing now is looking for companies that are interested, small, mid-sized companies that need that assistance. And so that's what we'll be doing a call out at the beginning of the year, and then we'll be training, talking with entry level, individuals, making sure that when we go out there on the same kind of path, and we're going to start with awareness. And so we'll have some presentations. So if you want to definitely help with those either on one side or the other or both, just feel free to reach out to me and I'll make sure you're a part of that.
Awesome. We'll love to.
Hey,
Thanks.
Kevin. Hey, Dr. Harris, can you put your LinkedIn or your email or something in the chat so that one of the two Harrisons can catch up with you?
Will do. I'll put both of them down there.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, Dr. Harris, I just got your LinkedIn invitation, so I just selected that. So thank you.
Good enough.
Good deal.
Good enough. Thank you for asking the question, Harrison. Hey, Joshua, over to you.
Hi, my name is Joshua. So it's nice meeting you, some of you guys at a conference in Orlando. And I have a simple question. So after the conference, I had this idea of also setting up a chapter in Cincinnati where I currently at. So I'm a student at University of Cincinnati. But my question is, since I came here, I've seen that the population here are mostly of international students. And the opportunities that exist currently are also for the citizens in the Cincinnati area. So probably my idea was to find opportunities that will bridge the gap, that probably would help minorities who are also not citizens, probably international students also benefit as well. So my question to the chapter presidents on what ideas do they think probably would help me sort of kind of bring some of these opportunities to the doorsteps of some of these international students. Thank you.
I kind of take that because I ran into that issue with some of our international students that are looking for interns. And so Sometimes some companies do have restrictions, but a lot of times it's only companies that are going to be using federal dollars for intern programs. And so that's one of the things that's typically not there with a lot of, if it's private companies that aren't using federal dollars or more, it's easier for them to fund interns and positions for international students. So that's a lot of times where I look at some of kind of just corporate partners that are outside of government to place international students. And also that's one of the reasons that we're looking to support even with the cyber clinics to give international students another opportunity. And I might have left that piece out, that students that are part of the cyber clinics that are going out would be funded with a stipend to help them to go out. So it's a way for international students that might not be able to get places to get some experience.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking the question, Joshua, and for coming off mute and coming on so we could see you. I remember meeting you at the conference this past November as well. Over to you, Larry. And can you put out your last name, please, so I don't destroy it?
Well, I'll tell you what. Just attempting to pronounce it. It's Ogunbanjo. Ogunbanjo. Just like you said. Ogunbanjo.
Ugubenjo. I got it.
Yeah, it's great. Right, that was the second Harrison, and that was because Harrison did invite me via another channel. So, but yeah, it's nice to listen to you guys. I hope you can hear me okay.
You're coming through okay.
Right, okay. So I'm based in London, England, and we don't actually have this sort of groups. And I stumbled on Cyversity just by chance. I've been a member for the past probably 1-2 years now, and I don't know how I could actually join or properly join a chapter that's I don't know if I should say that I can benefit from. But yeah, I'm not sure how that works, because I don't think you guys want to limit yourselves to the States. Yeah, that's just my little question to you. So do I have to be local to a chapter? I guess that's the way I should ask my question.
No, or do you join? Or do you create your own chapter? Or do you start your own chapter? And then how do you go about doing that? I think is probably a good question. At least that's the question I would ask.
Yeah, and that's why I'll probably want to join a chapter first, understand how it works, what the ins and outs are, and then yeah, probably see how we could have something similar here.
I'm going to put my LinkedIn in. I'm going to put my LinkedIn, or maybe I'm going to put my LinkedIn in the chat, and you just respond to that LinkedIn, or better yet, here for you, I'm just going to give you my email, all right? And I ask you to contact me directly so we can start that conversation, and I'll hand it over to the right people so they can handle it once it's
Sure, thank you.
Well, look, I think we're at time, and I want to make sure I'm respectful of everybody's weekend. Is there any more comments that any of the other remaining chapter presidents would like to? Well, look, let's go around and give our exit statement. Brenda, you first.
I just want to say thank you. I feel like I took away a few really great ideas that we can implement in 2023.
Perfect. Mike, I'm not going to ask you to be brief or anything. I'm just going to say, just go get it.
Ditto what Brenda said.
You and I had a great conversation at the conference, Mike. Man, I really appreciated you sitting down with me.
No,
really
and
great
honestly,
time.
I think the big thing for me is really I want to engage more with my peers, you guys out here and the chapter leaders. I think there's some untapped energy and innovation And so just doing more of these, I think, is one of my objectives next year.
Good. Dr. Harris?
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, and just say, as others have said, really enjoyed the conference. So if you did get a chance to make it this year, definitely plan on joining us next year in Orlando. So enjoy the rest of the year and look forward to exciting 2023 when we pick back up.
And Hayden and Mr. Brown, Kurby Brown.
I would just say for me, it's the take an opportunity to collaborate with other local organizations who may maybe already established or are working in similar verticals as us, whether ISACA, ISC Squared, or what have you. I think that's a great idea, or something I would like to see Hayden do going forward.
Great. Hayden, he's leaving it to you, Hayden.
Actually, that is exactly what I was, not exactly, but something similar, because actually what I had the opportunity of doing at the conference was sitting with Manish. Who actually, in the 10 minutes we sat, actually came up with a sort of really high-level strategic plan for helping the New York chapter go forward. And part of that was reaching out to organizations, not only for corporate sponsorship, but also for strategic partnerships in terms of obtaining spaces, in terms of being sort of a pipeline for, not clients, but, people that's looking for cybersecurity jobs. But just that part of it was just a high level strategy. But then on my part, I just look forward to working with all you guys, seeing how best we could sort of leverage the different thoughts and the different ideas that we have here and what we are doing in different areas and how it may apply to our individual region or chapter.
Oh, great. If there are not any more questions from anyone in the room, you're probably going to get a link from operations, from Cyversity operations, asking you to place a comment on this. I'm just having a tough time pulling that link across from where it is and posting it here. So you're going to get a survey link, and they're going to ask you to just give your opinion about how this session went from an information sharing and information content driven perspective. And so it'd be great if you can give your opinions. And I want to thank all of you for coming, and for especially the chapter presidents for coming and lending your time and to talk with folks that joined us. Absent that, and if no one else has any other comments, I'll just be here for a couple of meetings, because there's always the meeting after the meeting, right? So I'm gonna be here, and so I'll just hang in for a while if anybody else has anything else they'd like to say. But short of that, and absent that, thanks very much for coming, and you guys have a great Saturday. And remember, January 28th of 2023, we're going to be interviewing the chairman of the board, Julian Waits. So between now and then, get yourself ready for some questions for Julian. He's a resource bucket. Okay, guys? Be well. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, hi, David. I think you might have given a wrong
yeah, I think I put
address.
the second one I put in there, Cyversity, and then I also put my LinkedIn in there.
Oh, the
too.
LinkedIn. Okay, so I'll catch up with LinkedIn.
Hey, Raven, you've been here the whole time. You haven't said one word. What's up? What's up? So, Raven, where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from Brownsville, Tennessee.
I thought she was getting ready to say Brownsville, Brooklyn. I was like, yay, Tennessee. Yeah. So, are you a member with Mr. Dr. Harris?
Yes, I am.
Good. How long have you been with Cyversity?
I just joined.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. And how's your engagement with Cyversity been going so far? How's it been going so far?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm still learning, I'm fresh. so it's a different language.
Yeah. And what was the reason that you wanted to join in the first place? Why did you even want to join? What was the purpose behind all of this?
I want to learn something new and different. I just, my life has been very hard, financially. So I just wanted to do something different to change my life.
Okay.
And if that takes that, what I have to do, whatever I got to learning something new, building my skill sets, reading books, I really want to do that to learn.
Yep. Yes. And so if have you spent any time trying to figure out what this whole security thing is about? And what have you found out, and what have you learned, and what excites you other than the money, and what turns you off other than the hard well, I was going to say other than the hard work, but that's what it is.
I would say just learning, just want to get out there and learn something different. I mean, I know nothing is easy, nothing is easy. So I know it's gonna take challenges to learn this. It's gonna be some challenges because my mom, she's she battled cancer, and she still pushed through to get her nurse practitioner. Even just knowing my mother's story, and then knowing I can do this and do a career and learn something so I can make a change. Because I think this world, like we're getting a Ford plant down here in Brownsville, Tennessee, and that's bringing new opportunities this way as well.
And the only reason, quite honestly, that a Ford plant would be developed in Brownsville from an economic development perspective is, one, they're getting some incentives, or they're getting some benefits from having from the local folks. In other words, they have the type of people that they want to employ at their plant or their organization or their office. The people that they want are there. And the city has probably, or the region has made a commitment to educating people to the specific jobs, for the specific jobs that the Ford plant is going to need. So therein is already an incentive. So Ford's coming. When are they coming? This year, next year? Well, not this year. Next year or the year after? When are they coming?
They're coming, I think it's in another, I would say almost 2 years. So I would say, yeah.
So you got 2 years to bone up on something that Ford plant is going to need. And so finding out what they want and putting yourself in between what they want and who provides what they want gives you an opportunity to be right in the line of, quote unquote, right in the line of money. So that when the Ford plant decides that they're going to start hiring, and they're not going to bring everybody from Michigan. They're not going to bring everybody from St. Louis. They're not going to bring everybody from those places. They're going to hire locally right there. And so this is indeed an opportunity for you. This is not going to be easy, the cybersecurity thing. It's not going to be easy. But if you set your attention on something, on one thing that you want to become really good at that, and I don't know if you know what the cybersecurity domains are. There's like 9 of them, and inside of every one of those 9 domains, there's a specific area of focus. So I don't know if you know what that. Have you ever seen that domain?
You
see my LinkedIn up there? You see my LinkedIn over here? Right? Do you see it, Raven?
Hold on, I'm trying to get to it. Yes, I have it.
Right. So send me that, and just make sure a note that send me the cybersecurity domains. And if you need to have a future conversations, you can talk with me. Of course, you can talk with Dr. Harris because he's brilliant. I just know something or something or two. But yeah, glad to help, and come back in January, and we'll talk more about Cyversity and beyond. There's been a lot of people on this show that you might find helpful. Hey, Dr. Pate. Dr. Pate, I know you're still there, I think. All right, he's busy. Hey guys, if there's nothing else, my cousin shows up late. Look at my cousin. Show up late, man. Here it comes so.
No, man, I apologize. I had 2 meetings at church for stuff that's coming up this week. And I got another one to go to after this one. So I apologize for being.
Yeah, this one's over. We started at 2 o'clock.
You sent the thing out that said 3 o'clock.
See, nobody else knew that you say so.
Okay, my apologies. I'll be on time for the next one.
No doubt,
like I have been for the ones before, so we'll be okay.
No doubt, man. How's Auntie doing?
You got the recording, so just send me the link for that. Now I'll make sure I'll get onto it.
Thanks, man. You doing well? You doing well?
Hanging in there, man. Hanging in there.
We'll talk later about that. Everybody be good, peace, and peace, as Frankie Crockett used to say. You guys are too young for that. Raven, Harrison, you're too young. You don't know what Frankie used to say. I'll see you guys later. As we always say in parting, peace, love, and soul.
Oh, you taking it way back, D.
Way back.
You taking it way back, Don Cornelius.
Sometimes I say peace, love, and respect.
No doubt, respect as well. Hey, what did Frankie Crocker used to say? Hey, never mind. That was a New York station anyway, Harrison, man. That was back in the day.
Man, I'm originally from Florida.
And no doubt, man. Love Florida. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
hey, Derek, like you got on a jacket and a turtleneck inside?
Oh, bro, I just walked inside. I was out on the terrace because I had to rush home because I got some folks doing some work in the house. And I'm like, this is one of them work Saturdays that, I couldn't miss it, else it'd be another 3 weeks or a month before I could get them to come through. So I was outside for my first visual, even though I was late.
Hey, Auntie Moselle, right? She just had that birthday. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey, Harrison, I'm tired. Harrison, I'm sorry. We're talking family talk here.
Oh, nothing. I just like to be around great minds and listen to the conversation.
Hey,
so
that guy right next to you, Lewis Pate. Swear to God, you need to get in touch with that guy right there. You get in touch with that guy right there. That's a sharp dude.
All right.
That's a sharp brother. I don't know why you're not coming off, Lewis. I'm gonna call your name, and then I'm gonna call you after this session. Then what's going to happen? What you going to do then?
Dave, can you hit me up later on today? Dave, can you hit me up later on today?
I will.
Okay, cool. I got to run, bro. Now, nice seeing you all for a short minute. I'll talk to you all in a few. Blessings, everybody. Later.
Yeah, man.
Blessings.
Hey, Harrison, man. Where you at, Harrison? Looks like you in Montana or something.
Oh, that's just a background, a Zoom background I downloaded.
No doubt, man. Anyway, man, thanks for coming. But are you new to Cyversity, or you've been around for a while? Tell me what's going on.
I am actually. I joined just a few months ago. Actually, my CISO told me about it, and I joined, and I got on with the mentorship as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just got the scholarship, the HISP scholarship.
Oh, from Thailand.
Yes.
Yeah. How was that? Tell me about that. How was
that? It's a lot, just because the amount of information to know. It's like basically like several certifications built into one is what it is. I'm already actually in school with Western Governors University. So I am. I just took a few courses already, but I took a pause, and I'm kind of glad I did because I just got the scholarship. So now my focus is just on this right now.
Good. What's the scholarship? So the scholarship is it for the SANS courses, or which one?
This is for the Holistic Information Security Practitioner Institute certification. This was the sponsorship of TikTok.
Right.
Yes.
And that's with HISP and Thailand. Have you got any certifications from HISP already, or is this the first one that you're getting?
This will be my first certification with the University of Western Governors.
Okay.
That actually ties into quite a bit of certifications with the degree program, from CompTIA certifications to ISACA and also ISC squared.
What's this? What's your focus? What's your practice or discipline focus that requires the certifications that you're going after? What's specific?
Right now, so right now I'm looking to move into cybersecurity is where I'm at right now. My focus I have a software QA kind of background or user acceptance testing. So with that knowledge, my mentor was actually is what he's actually guiding me and helping assisting me with. It looks like that I can be able to go into maybe an SOC position, SOC analyst, or
SOC analyst position, or
yeah.
so you were a quality control on software, or you were just developer?
I'm on the front end from the, I guess, customer standpoint, just doing manual testing.
Gotcha.
I've been doing that for about 5 or 6 years now.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's time for you to step into something. It's time for you to step into some more trouble.
Yes.
John Lewis would say good trouble. It's time for you to step into some more trouble. And are you familiar with the cyber sort of domains that I was talking to Raven about? Are you familiar with those two? Because I asked that question because, one, you got to pick something in order to which to harness your focus, to direct your focus toward. And even in that one something, it all leads to everything else in all other cyber. When you see the cyber security domain, the 9 domains, you're going to be like, oh my God, is that much to choose from here, to be specific? So
it is. I'm pretty sure I have seen it. I am going to message you just to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yes, sir.
I actually already sent a connection to you on LinkedIn.
Sure.
And I'll send you a message and again asking for those 9 domains.
Sure. Hey man, I mean, first of all, welcome.
Definitely.
Appreciate you being here, and thanks for coming. See, I'm gonna have to call Dr. Pate. That's my dude.
I'm gonna have to reach out. I didn't know Kevin Harris was here actually, so he might know my CISO.
Who was that? Who was that?
His name is Harold Moore. He's at Lifeway Christian Resources.
Oh, great. I don't know him personally myself, but I'm glad that you have a mentor, and I'm glad that you're now associated with Cyversity, which has a universe of mentors and security people that look a lot like you. Real comfortable place to be.
Definitely. I'm letting my friends know, anyone that's looking to get in that space, hey, this is a wonderful organization to join, become part of, and can get started, especially since we're all over the country. My brother actually is out of San Antonio, so that was interesting to hear. Those guys over there in that chapter. So definitely I'm looking forward to this organization and however I can assist to network and all that good stuff.
And after you learn, give back.
Yes, exactly.
Harrison, I'm out of here, man. My mother walked past me 3 times. I moved her here from New York. Oh my God, cuz she got her feet up. She's chilling like nobody else's business. Well, it's a good thing God gave us a good big house to do that with. So, so yeah, man, we'll talk. Let's stay in touch. The 4th Saturday of every month, Harrison. The 4th Saturday of every month, and I'll put you on our list to send you a notification so you can come join us. Next month is going to be the chairman of the board, the CTO from Otis Elevator, the CTO from Raytheon, the chief information security officer from Teledocs. I got CEOs. I got a list of people from last year. You won't be, look at this, Kevin. Harrison, look at this from last year.
Roster.
This is from last year. right? From Amazon. This is the chairman of the Hispanic Technology Council. He's the former CIO for Cisco. She's the CISO for SailPoint. These are the people that I bring to this conversation. The CISO, the deputy CIO for the Department of Commerce, right? CEO from Lumen Enterprises. You met her. I think you probably met her. She's the CISO for Equifax in Canada. This is the founder of GuardSight. If you want training, real training in SecOps on the ground, how the pain really goes, this is the man to get it from, right? Brandon Perkins from Amazon Web Services. Michael Palmer, the Chief Information Security Officer from Hearst, right? Top 100, Fortune 100 companies, right? So, and then our former executive director. So yeah, we we just got, it's just crazy people that we bring to the table. So
this is awesome.
Oh yeah, man, come back. Hey, as they say, keep coming back. Gets better when you it gets better when you work it. All right. We'll talk soon, brother. All right.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Any more questions for me before we go, by the way?
No, we're good. Handling your mom, take care of her, enjoy her.
No doubt, man. No doubt. No doubt.
Stay blessed and less stress.
No doubt, man. We'll see. The less stressed thing, we'll see. The blessed thing that happens every day.
Yes, exactly.
Man, be good, man. We'll catch up.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.